Welcome to my channel. My name is sirkierandolan. This is a portfolio of my work, my side projects mainly. Whatever I want to do basically. This is my first project. Like and subscribe, I guess. So, a little background before we start this project, before I start walking you through what I've done so far on this project. I've got a girlfriend, her name's Destiny. 3 years ago when I met her and I first went to her house, she had this Amigo shopping cart, an electric shopping cart that, people that can't walk or whatever just sit in and go around the store. So an interesting thing that was on it was a variable speed control, which thought, oh, how fast can this thing go? And I was always interested to see how fast it would go. So I said, if you're ever trying to get rid of that, give it to me. And I said that 3 years ago. Now, today, I have the cart sitting in my room right there. Now, it doesn't look anything like it did because I'm making a go-kart. So, this is my journey of making it go fast.
Okay, so when it comes to creating something, firstly, I want to determine the problems with it, what I want to do with it, and how I can do that. So I have a 3-step plan for that. My problems with it currently is 1, it's heavy. 2, it's a trike. So it's not the most stable device, and also the seat is farther forward than I would like for it to be the most stable, because it does tip over if you're not careful. And it's also, the seat is also very high on the cart, so it lends itself to tipping more easily. Another thing is that it's heavy. It kind of just lends itself to being heavy. It has 2 lead acid batteries. They're about 15 pounds each, or about 18 pounds each, apologies. So it doesn't really lend itself to being light. And it's also slow. But I'll be able to solve that by these 3 steps that I have. So what I decided to do in the process of improving this go-kart to make what I want, there's 3 attributes I want to concentrate on. I want to concentrate on moving the seat back and down, not a lower center of gravity, and I'm planning to put it right over the rear axle, so it'll be very stable compared to what it was. Hopefully it won't tip over as much. So back and down. I also want to get rid of the lead acid batteries and change those for lithium ion batteries, which I've already got those on order, and I'll explain that in a minute. But a third thing I want to do is remove as much weight as possible, and that way it'll be faster and more efficient, which will let me, a 200-pound guy, go faster and farther on it as well, which will be pretty nice. Another side criteria I kind of have, it's not really a criteria, but just as a broke college student, can't really spend a lot of money on it, so I figure the cheaper the better. So far I've only spent about $20 or about $40 worth of parts, including 3D printed filament, and I think it'll probably come to around a total of $100 worth of parts and 3D printed filament. But luckily it came with a lot of spare parts that I won't be needing because I've taken them off already, so I'll be able to save money that way, which is very nice. I scooched a little bit farther away from my computer just to explain what I'm doing exactly for the seat. So I want to move it down, and I want to move it back farther over the axle. That'll give it more stability, and the closer I get it to the center of mass being over the rear axle, more stable it'll be. In order to do that, I figure this is the seat that comes with it, and it's got these 4 T-nuts in the seat, and luckily they're arranged in such a way, and pretty square, just on the bottom here, such that if I make a part that puts these 4 holes right in the center over the rear axle, my center of weight should be right in front of the rear axle. Not exactly sure, but I'll probably be leaning a little bit forward
and I'll be able to move the batteries in order to distribute the weight better. So that's what I did, and I figure it's going to be stable enough either way. I just want this to be a strong part. So when I thought about creating this part, I didn't really know exactly how I wanted to do it because I've never 3D printed any sort of big structural parts. So I knew that I had to clear the motor, which is right on top of the rear axle, and the differential is just directly hooked up to an open differential. So no drifting this cart, unfortunately. But this is what I catted up. So the seat basically goes right where this bolt is. This is one of those 4 holes. As I mentioned earlier, this is only half of it. And then the engine, or the motor, and the axle go to here, and then right here is where the 2 mounting bolts and the wheels are just right on the other side of this, basically. Basically, this is my first try at making a big part. So far, it works pretty well. I haven't actually sat on it, and I haven't tightened it down yet. It will be a little bit awkward to tighten down, I think, because the wheels are covering my opening, which I made. So I'm not sure exactly how that's going to go, but I think it's going to be pretty interesting once I tighten it all down. I've got the second one printing to my left as I am recording this video. In about 3 days' time, I'll be able to get both of these because that will be finished. And I'll be able to bolt them down, and then I'll be able to take my first seat. The second part of my plan is to take the lead acid batteries and replace them with LiPo batteries. So I've ordered 10 18650 batteries, which have a max output of 20 amps that I'm going to put in a 4S 2P arrangement, which will give, with 2 left over, obviously, and I will have a 5 milliamp hour capacity compared to the 26 amp hour capacity. So it'll probably only run for an hour or two compared to the all day that the lead acid provided, but I'm not going to be using it all day to go shopping. I'm just going to go very fast for a short amount of time, and then once that runs out, I'll come back and I'll charge it, and then I'll keep going. And another thing I can do is just replace the batteries, because unlike in a shopping center, I can have 2 or 3 batteries on the side. And the nice thing about 8 lithium polymer batteries, is that it's about 30 pounds lighter than the lead acid batteries. So that's what I'm doing with that. Hopefully the batteries get here. I ordered them from China, and as you know, in this day and age, they don't really come very quickly. So we'll see. If anyone has 18650 batteries, let me know. When it comes to weight reduction, it wasn't the most important factor of this build, so I decided to take as much weight off as possible, but without compromising the frame. So I ended up taking 36 pounds worth of lead acid batteries off. So the LiPo batteries really helped with that, as well as making it more powerful. But I was also able to remove another 30 pounds from the powered seat, and a bunch of other stuff. There's a few locks on the motor. I was able to remove all of that and lose just around 66 pounds total. Now, let's go see what it looks like. I have to do this in my bathroom because I can't do it on the circuit breaker in my room. But basically, the go-kart looks like. I've got the chair, got my power supply that goes into the control box right underneath. We've got one side of the 3D printed mount there. One is currently being printed. Basically, I just have the rigid handle here. We're gonna see how that goes. I'm gonna go backward a foot or two, then I'm gonna go forward a foot or two. Current draw was too high.
backward, and then I'm going to go forward. Wow, it instantly goes higher than 5 amps.
Okay, so if you look at the footage there, you can see the cart moved a little bit forward or a little bit backward when I tried it the second time. So as you can see there, it does move a little bit, but as soon as the motor actually needs torque to move, it draws a lot more current than 5 amps, which is what my power supply can supply without tripping. So when we get these 18650 batteries, there'll be a 40 amp max discharge rate compared to the 52 of the other ones. And if there's a bottleneck there, I can always put a third set of 4 in parallel. So that'll make it 120 amps max discharge, and then we'll have no bottleneck at all. But I figure 40 amps will be enough to definitely get this thing going. Alright, that was my first YouTube video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. It took a long time to make because I'm just really bad at editing and very slow. I'll get there. I've got a lot of cool projects in the future. I'm going to make a video about my CR10 S that's heavily modified, talk about what I've done to it and why it works, and we'll talk about a ton of other things. I also am an avid cyclist, so we'll probably have some projects about that. A lot of 3D printing, a lot of design. Yeah. Thanks for watching, y'all. Bye.